Habitat for Bats. Hi guys, this is Robert. I get questions quite a bit about how we paint our houses. In fact, I have one here. It says, I have a question about painting the house. I think I would need to paint the exterior surfaces, which will prevent the plywood from splitting. We'll talk about that in a second. But should I paint the interior surfaces before assembly? Well, this person is actually asking about our DIY kit, but to cover all of our houses, we use a high quality exterior latex paint. Now, what we use is about $40 to $50 a gallon. You don't have to go that expensive with it, but you do need to get a high quality exterior latex water-based paint that'll have soap and water cleanup. When you paint the houses, it's important to have caulked the entire house while it's being put together like we do. If you're doing your own kit, make sure you caulk it and seal everything. You can also use some exterior paintable caulk to fill in gaps and voids on the house when you're done. And then paint the entire exterior surface, including the landing board. Now, the landing board is a little more interesting to do. You can see here that we had to take time to get the paint into the roosting grooves and to fully coat it, and it's painted up into the house just a little bit. But it's not important to actually go inside the house and paint. We use a exterior grade plywood called ACX. It has an exterior glue in it. This doesn't mean that it's impervious to the outdoors. It means that the glue won't break down with moisture. So any splits or cracks that may develop over time should not cause the entire surface to delaminate while it's outside. Now you can see this house, which is new, it's ready to ship, does actually have a small gap here in the plywood, and this has been completely filled in with paint and painted. When the sunlight hits this plywood, the exterior surface of this is going to develop small fissures. That's completely normal. It's just how the plywood reacts to sunlight. It works the same way on houses. And it doesn't harm anything because the plywood is durable, waterproof glue on the inside of it, and it's not going to get in and cause it to delaminate and come apart. If you ever do want to repaint the house, it's fairly simple. You just take a paint scraper, or you could even take sandpaper or just wipe it off real good and put another layer of paint right over the top of it. Now, more important than paint color is the paint shade. What shade of paint should you paint your house? The color really doesn't matter if it's light pink or dark purple. What matters is the shade, how well it absorbs sunlight, how well it causes the heat to build up in the house, because bats prefer the temperature between 85 and 100 degrees in their living spaces. That's why they like our attics. And most of us don't have the insides of our attics painted either. Well, if you take a dark house, say our black house, which is down here ready to ship, these are getting ready to have shingles put on them, and then they'll be badged on the front and they'll be ready to go. Or you go with our brown, or you go with our gray. But if you go with a dark house and you put it in bright, hot sunlight, it's going to get extremely hot inside the house, and it's going to cause the plywood to buckle, swell, and split even faster. So a black house is not something that you would want to take and put in Florida, for example. But you would want to take and put it in Canada or Vermont. The brown house is the most common color that we have ordered. This particular color is kind of a medium. It can go a little further south, a little further north. We have some of these that actually are up in the north and doing fairly well, and some have been used in Canada. And we encourage you to experiment if you're putting out a lot of different houses. There's no set rule or formula to come up with the right answer. The bats are going to roost where they're comfortable and where they prefer. And using the shade of paint to help control the temperature inside the house is one way to try and reach that comfort zone for the bats. Well, I hope that answered your questions. If you've got any more, let me know.